Several years ago, in a speech before the Canadian Parliament, Malala condemned the killing of innocent people. She has yet to condemn the killing of innocent people, including girls and women, inside of Israel on October 7th by Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others from Gaza. Perhaps she shares the belief that even civilians, babies, girls, women, defenseless people are not considered innocent if certain political or religious narratives are asserted. Babies, civilians, girls, children, women, defenseless people of all ages must never be the accepted target of terror and murder, no matter the political or religious narratives. What Hamas, Islamic Jihad, and others committed from Gaza on October 7th, murder, kidnapping, mutilations, all kinds of atrocities, are dismissed by many because the victims are mostly Israelis. Do the lives of women and girls not matter to her if they are Jews? In January of this year, in a speech to Muslim leaders from Muslim countries around the world, she implored them to speak out against the Taliban over its treatment of women and girls. Ironically, a number of the people in attendance represent countries where women and girls are brutally oppressed. They could care less about her condemnation of the Taliban for its treatment of women and girls, something they would do nothing about anyway, as long as all eyes and criticisms are kept away from their own countries. She then pandered to the crowd by calling out the tiny non-Muslim majority country of the Middle Eastern world that is their favorite punching bag. No mention of Hamas murdering, mutilating, wounding, kidnapping, burning alive, and other atrocities against thousands of defenseless people inside of Israel, much of which was filmed by Hamas themselves. No mention that Hamas, assisted by UNRWA, Qatar, and others, had turned the Gaza educational system into a Jew-hating propaganda machine reminiscent of Hitler and Goebbels. No mention that Hamas wages war hiding behind and beneath civilians, including from civilian structures such as schools, universities, hospitals, mosques, and so forth. No mention of the multi-billion-dollar Hamas terror tunnels built below civilian structures from which to wage war, without Hamas and Islamic Jihad having built a single bomb shelter above ground. Moral courage is the courage not to just tell people the things they want to hear. She missed the opportunity to speak not only for women and girls that happen to be Jewish, but also for Muslim women and girls across the world that are oppressed. This includes victims of child marriage, forced wearing of the hijab in Iran and elsewhere, and women, girls, and religious minorities in general that are oppressed by brutal, violent men that believe religion gives them the right to do as they wish, no matter how evil, despicable, and harmful. She missed the opportunity to be a strong voice for the millions of people in the Sudan, including millions of girls and women who are experiencing genocide, mass murder, and instead she pivoted to the popular, no matter how untrue, anti-Israel narrative instead of the underlying reasons that countless women and girls all over the world, not just in Afghanistan, are living shortened lives filled with misery. Women and girls harmed by the same kind of terrorist organizations, the same kind of violent, brainwashed, fanatical men that are attracted to Hamas organizations similar to Hamas ideologically or religiously, like Al-Shabaab, ISIS, Boko Haram, and many more. She said nothing about the brutal reality for millions of women in places like Yemen, Somalia, Sudan, Central African Republic, North Nigeria, and in many more places. Demonizing Israel is what is popular, but it does nothing to help the many millions of girls and women victimized by brutal men and organizations that are no different than Hamas.